I will begin. You tell me. By the way, this is Pathway to Leadership. I find the only way to train people to be leaders is to let them practice being leaders. It's not theoretical, it's always practical. What little theory I have to offer, I just used it a lot. You're going to be leading yourselves in this room with me. What makes me the leader of the room is I actually know where we're going. But you're going along to decide how we get there. That makes sense? So, this is journey time, so if you're off on the journey, it's kind of like central time plus 15 minutes. Can I say, Sunday services don't even start at 5 now, like Jesus shows up there. I'm not sure if there's 2 more Christians in the room. You got the joke, biblical reference. I don't know everybody. If you don't know my wife's name, can you tell me who you are?
I'm Lindsay.
Lindsay?
Yes.
Who are you?
Who am I? That's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
What do you want to know about who I am?
What do you want to tell me about you?
Oh my goodness. What do I want to tell? I don't know. My name is Lindsay. I'm 25. I'm currently unemployed recently. Enjoying that a lot. I grew up all over the world. So I've lived in like Germany, England, Iceland, the States. Lived here for 3 years. Trying to love Jesus.
There's days you don't love Jesus?
Oh,
He's a jerk at times. Is that what you're saying?
wow, that's a good question. I mean, I think there's moments that I forget about Jesus. Maybe not love, but not hate.
You glad you put your hand up?
Yeah.
Anybody else know who my wife is? You don't know my wife's? Who are you? Who are you? I wish I could come. I was a real happy little church. They had really ruined it at the time I got there 10 years ago. So, Catherine, who are you? Well, what are you doing here tonight? Anybody else not know my wife's name? So my beloved fell out of a Disney movie. If you ask me which one, the Bethany one, my wife literally is a princess. She walks into a room, everybody notices. And she is not my personality. So when I walk into a room, people notice, and not always for the best reasons. You know, I'm not a subtle person. Subtlety and art and what collide at any point in emotion. And so we lack that evolutionary DNA moment of subtlety. We don't really understand it. We find it very, very suspicious. So we just stay away from it. My wife, on the other hand, is elegant, charming, diplomatic, subtle. And when we met, our worlds collided. And she thought I was a jerk. For 9 whole months. What was that? Well, you know it. And then I have a baby boy who today is 60 months old. And he's the baby Hulk. You know, I'm really not sure what he's made of, and I'm not quite sure his flesh and bones because it weighs too much. For his size and density, he shouldn't be that heavy, but he is that So he's 75, 75, and then 90 on the rate side. So high head is 75%, and then the rate is 90. Because he's just solid. And he's my Bobby. He doesn't do subtle either. So his immediate engagement with you is either Now, did anybody miss the fact that when you're ready as a group, I'll begin teaching you? Do you have a consensus with your community?
I second the motion.
Okay, so you read your mind if somebody misses it. So when I thank you and Leah, I'm going to explain it in your part.
Sure.
Leadership.
I
My name's Robert. I'm one of the members here. This is Sheldon. He's one of the main people. There always has to be someone who takes that one on the team. He's actually been here for about 14 hours. And he's doing such a subtle job. It's going to be one of our pastors one day. Maybe. Pathway to leadership. It's exactly what we're doing today. We have a pathway to membership, and that is help people recognize if they are indeed members that want to self-nominate and we want to other nominate and say, you look exactly like one of us. And we go, you know what? You look exactly like me. Let's become family. And then you become a member of Family World, the journey. And that's what we do for 10 weeks, is we express as coherently, as consistently as we can up. Well, that's what we're going to try to do this ministry year for leadership. We'll try to reflect what a leader is. Not what a leader does, but what a leader is. And if you capture that and catch that and go, that's me! Then you are a leader. If you miss it, you probably aren't a leader yet. You might be one day, and maybe you were one day before, but right now you won't be. And if there were no followers, there could be no leaders. So my definition of how good or bad or adjective you put in front of leadership is this. You can accurately and consistently put the same adjective in front of follower. So it's not possible to be a real leader unless you're at first a successful follower. Now, you can be a really bad leader. And why do those follow you is pathological, but you would be equally able to say how bad a follower you were and still are. So there are many people with titles and positions that people follow who are awful followers. And so everything we're going to talk about in Pathway to Leadership may sound a lot like following. Because there are no Christian leaders who are not following. Because submission is the entryway into Christianity. Follow me as I follow you, is the definition of leadership. Okay? So, Vince Lombardi, whether true or not, was supposed to have begun every season through the professional NFL players and walk in the room and go, this is a football. And that's the last attempt at an American accent you're going to get from me ever. Vince Lombardi cracked out this idea of football, basics. Let's start with the essence of the game. And so, Pathway to Leadership, I'm going to do a Vince Lombardi one. For the next 5 weeks, I'm going to go football. Let's start with the basics of the game. Without one of these, you cannot play. That was Vince Lombardi's idea. Without the basics, you ought not to play, no matter how skilled you are. Could you hit my slide? Thank you. So I lived in Germany for a decade, Ireland for over 30 years before that, just slightly over 30 years. And one of the things about living in Munich, Germany, and dealing with a lot of academics and students and philosophy types who are traveling the world to find themselves is Munich was one of those hubs for philosophy, for spirituality. And it was many, many years ahead of everywhere else. And so postmodernity hit near the end of the 20th century, and it has long since passed by, and now you have to guess what the vocabulary is instead of postmodernity. But in the 20th century, simplistically, the North Atlantic cultures lived in something called modernity. And if you had a compelling or coherent argument, rationale, and it was more compelling and more coherent than anybody else's, then you would probably win an argument. Whatever the argument, whatever the topic, whoever had the most compelling and coherent argument won the day. Modernity. It was based on rationality. It was based on a strong explanation. And so Christianity in the North Atlantic culture went to a great deal of effort to make a compelling argument for Christianity. Probably the most famous version is in the book form, is A Case for Christ. It really laid out a systematic argument for why it made sense, why it was reasonable to believe in Jesus Christ and embrace Christianity. Postmodernity, on the other hand, it had a very different attitude. Before you could make an explanation, you first had to offer a coherent and consistent experience. And so people living in these areas of very rough and very inaccurate parameters of modernity and postmodernity, when you sort of grasp 21st century, 20th century, North Atlantic cultures. So other parts of the world did not operate in this paradigm, nor do they now. But in Germany, that's paradigm postmodernity. This experiential way of understanding. Now, please understand that in modernity, you did actually have to practice what you preach. So the experience coming in behind had to be compelling and coherent on the long term. If 2 and 2 you say is 4 and it sounds reasonable, or you're arguing for mathematics basic, but you have 2 oranges and 2 oranges and there's always 5 oranges, we're going to want to talk about how we always end up with 5 oranges. Yeah. While it sounded right, it just doesn't feel right. And so, modernity always had an experiential element to compelling coherence. And postmodernity always has an explanational element. Like, I just love Jesus, and I'm a good guy, and you don't like me, and you do, Robert, you're really compelling, it's really nice to hang around, I feel good about myself, and I think I know myself more. And you see, my life is awful, and it is just a train wreck all the time. No one day looks the same as another. And every time I tell you something is different from the last time, you're going to go, whoa, it needs to be a little bit more coherent and consistent for me to stay with this. By the way, that's actually how it functions in postmodernity as well, is you have to have a compelling argument using rational thought. Okay? So these 2 complexities, grandparents for many of you, some of you parents, if you're older than me, it's your parents' generation, if you're younger than me, it's probably your grandparents' generation, they lived in the heart of modernity. And that's the peak moment in a compelling, coherent argument on the day. Okay? If you're under 30, compelling, coherent experience wins the day. Okay? So I'm living in Germany. I'm in LGBTIQA, and in atheists, and with people who are spiritual but agnostic, which means I don't know and I don't mind. I have an experience. You deal with your explanation. My explanation is I don't need one. Coexist. I gotta see. Put them all together for a smorgasbord or whatever I like. And so many people were interacting with the world that way, philosophically, spiritually. And my wife and I were in India. We were the chaplains for a professional dance troupe. All of the guys but one were LGBT. And the other was, of course, an ally. Everybody in the dance troupe was antagonistic to Christianity, except for the one dancer we knew who invited us in because of that. It was not odd that we were at the gay bar, it was not odd we spent most of our life in bars and clubs, in the park, in cafes, and we were really trusted by this community who were incredibly antagonistic to our worldview of Christianity. And so we had successfully breached the stereotypical places Christians aren't allowed, and then people came in behind us and said, we would like to do that anyway, so we had a mission organization that reached the unreachable, reached those most antagonistic to Christianity, but very open to spirituality. By the way, atheists are open to spirituality. It's a conversation, it's rather rational, but they're open. Maybe another slide from this. So we were there for years. Met my wife there. She's American. She was a missionary. I was a missionary. We were doing Messiah 58, true religion, which is very experiential. It's all about going out first and being the gospel before you explain the gospel. Okay? So we were very into post-modernity. We were the poster children for we're not organized, we're super organic, you know. You couldn't have picked us out of a lineup as Christians, you know. People were, you're not allowed to be, was the favorite saying we had. If you got to know us for a while and you discovered what we did professionally, you were offended, you were mortified, you were confounded. And so our favorite, we heard all the time, you're not allowed to be in multiple languages. We go, can I self-nominate for myself, please? And they were really baffled by the fact that we were Christian, and we were professional Christians. We were peddling Christianity to the masses in Europe. And the reason why is we were very empathetic in their walk. Okay? They really trusted us. They bonded with us. They felt we deeply respected and celebrated who they were. And so when they discovered what we believed, they found our behavioral beliefs to be inconsistent only because of this. They imagined Christianity had to hate them. And because we clearly loved being around them, and they loved being around us, they were convinced we were inaccurately self-nominated. You're confused. You cannot be a Christian. If you don't understand Christianity, I'm a professional Christian. I promise you, I've been trained. I know the theology. No, you don't understand. You have to hate me. Why? Because I'm in for a label. Okay, I didn't realize that. And then we have a conversation which would include the explanation of why I am a believer and why my wife is she. And what would happen is they would go, what's that? Christianity. No, it's not! I go, yes it is! Blah, blah, blah. Do you know any of those people you're talking about? No, you know me. Yeah. Why are you trusting them instead of me? And what will happen is conversations with God will begin to happen. And then I would feel like a picture, and God would take center stage in a conversation about being, great being, success. Conversions, not so many. Conversations, many, which is the heart of the mission. Okay? Some people that come in from America, from Ireland, from other places, from Christians, from missionaries, and they knew we were successful, so they wanted to learn our methodology. And so we ended up with a team of professional missionaries. Weird. Not that I started out to do that, but we ended up leading a team of professional missionaries in our lunch of 11 years. And everybody was really excited. Except for me, because I really didn't want to be a professional Christian. I worked for Jesus. An American organization was not my plan. But here I was leading this group of people, and it's May 2011. And they all come in my house, in my apartment in the city. It's a really cool place called High House, in the old French quarters. It's super artistic. It's a little 1940s apartment. Really, all the Americans, whatever you imagine, from the movies, and lived there. And so we go to my apartment, and we're all sitting there, and the team was primarily American. American Mission Organization. And so they come in and they are clearly upset. I'm going, what's wrong? What did I do this time? And they went, oh my goodness, and between the tears, the frustration, and the rage, I finally pieced it all together that John Piper had tweeted, farewell, Robel, there is no hell, or some version of that. And they had set the blogosphere of Christianity afire. On Twitter. And I was like, what? And then they're like, Rob Bell's written this book called Love is Enough, and he said there is no hell. Have you read the book? The book's not out yet. Have any of your friends got advanced copies? No! Okay, tell me why he's at my staff meeting for this. Because all of their Piper's John Piper, you know, like, he's John Piper. But Rob Bell, you see those little videos he does with the tree and planting it, and it all comes up and it's super awesome. My friends love that. They don't even like Christian. It's Rob Bell. But you know, John Piper's John Piper, you know. So I sat listening to this and you go, oh, what do you think? And I was like, shut up. Read the book. And then, let John Piper rip it apart and then see which one was the most compelling. And they go, we can't bother with that. Tell us what you think about that. And so I broke it down, all the arguments, and they let me read it online, you know, the blogosphere. I try to read the more rational and relevant, you know, which is about this much of it. Okay, fact, that's it, 3 pages. And I went, love is enough. Grace is where we should major, Rob Bell says. And we should minor in truth. No. We should major in truth and minor in grace. Experience, explanation. Feelings, facts. Rob Bell says, hey, if you love them, you get in fast and you get in hard, and they'll stay with you for years. And John Piper rightly says, yeah, but you never get to tell them the message. And Rob Bell goes, whoa, you never get to arrive with your message. And John Piper goes, and that's where I stopped. And it's like, oh, let's stop a second. Let's forget these two guys. They're amazing leaders of Christianity in America. Both of them in their own right, astounding men of God, who pursued modern Christianity at a really high level. Both of them. Let's go to Scripture. And if you haven't noticed this about teachers in the Bible studies, is we can always grab a Bible verse or a Bible passage. So watch this. Read, please.
Then Ahaz the son of Zadok said, let me run and carry news to the king that the Lord has delivered him from the hand of his enemies. And Joab said to him, you are not to carry news today. Me carry news another day, but today you shall carry no news, because the king's son is dead. Then Joab said to the Cushite, go tell the king what you have seen. The Cushite bowed before Joab and ran. Then Ahaz the son of Zadok said again to Joab, come what may, let me also run after the Cushite. And Joab said, why will you run, my son, seeing that you will have no reward for the news? Come what may, he said, I will run. So I said to him, run. Then Ahaz ran by the way of the plain and outran the Cushite. Now David was sitting between the two gates, and the watchman went up to the roof of the gate by the wall, and when he lifted up his eyes and looked, he saw a man running alone. The watchman called out and told the king. And the king said, if he is alone, there is news in his mouth. And he drew near and near. The watchman saw another man running. And the watchman called to the gate and said, see, another man running alone. The king said, he also brings news. The watchman said, I think the running of the first is like the running of Ahaz the son of Zadok. And the king said, he is a good man, come with good news. Then Ahaz cried out to the king, all is well. And he bowed before the king with his face to the earth and said, blessed be the Lord your God, who has delivered up the men who raised their hand against the Lord my king. And the king said, is it well with the young man Absalom? Ahaz answered, when Joab sent the king's servant, your servant, I saw great commotion, but I did not know what it was. And the king said, turn aside and stand here. So he turned aside and stood still. And behold, the Cushite came. The Cushite said, good news for my lord the king, for the Lord has delivered you this day from the hand of all who rose up against you. The king said to the Cushite, is it well with the young man Absalom? And the Cushite said, may the enemies of my lord the king and all who rise up against you for evil be like that young man. Then the king was deeply moved and went up to the chamber over the gate and wept. And as he went, he said, oh my son Absalom, my son Absalom, would I have died instead of you, O Absalom, my son, my son.
The history. David lost his beloved son. And his general Joab knew. Let's send one of the mercenaries to deliver the news just in case. Let's not lose anyone important. Let's send one of the professional soldiers, one of the Cushites, one of the Ethiopians. And in the ancient times, was communicating a complex message to another leader, like a general to a king. Here's what happened. Messenger! And these were professionals who were trained to deliver the message as the best. Master! And the general would say, blah, 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 blah. And he's trained to memorize every word, and then he says, repeat back to me. And the messenger would go, blah, 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 blah. And go. And then the messenger would run, and he would just remember it. Repeat the message so that it wouldn't get lost or garbled. You would have to repeat at the end of the run, no matter how long, the answer, the point. Okay? So the message was everything. Clarity was everything. Now the young guy was a family friend of the royalty. And he had been watching these guys run, these are important messages, and he just wanted to go. Like he just wanted to be the guy who get to run. And he badgered Joe. Joe says like, no, not today. You get to do it another day. And didn't take any of the non-verbals, because he didn't pay attention at all. All he was concerned about was getting the data to his family with the message. What's the message? I wasn't really paying attention to the general when he was talking. I was busy wondering how I could get in ahead of the other guy. What's the shortcut I could take to get ahead of the professional runner? And then I would beat him. Even though he had a head start, how cool am I beat the professional runner. And so he did. And he arrives and David sees him and said, oh, thank goodness. I trust him. He arrives and goes, do you have any details about the thing I care the most about, that I'm frightened the most about? No. Would you please stay with me, because I trust you and get some support by having you here. And I'll wait for this other guy who's still making his way honestly to me. And you see, while blah, 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 buddy here was very empathetic. He cares deeply for David, the audience. Was blah, 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 who made it first. And all this intimate time, and all of this intimate time with the family, the professional messenger was still. We won, but. And he can care less about David and his family. So he's going, this is pretty good news. We won. I'm the enemy guy who's going to take the crown died. We won. And he arrives, drops on his knee, and says, okay, we won. What about Absalom? He died, and so should everybody like him. Totally oblivious to the impact his message had on the audience. But the other guy was a family friend, deeply intimate. And when David left, he took his entourage with him to weep. He realized that's the first messenger got to come and weep with David. So it is with love and truth. Love's about getting there first. And I would tell you, if you could just unconditional love, grace into someone's life, just love on the life out of them, you will become a deep and trusted confidant. But when it comes time to communicate the message that God sent you with, you're going to go, I wasn't paying attention, I was really focused on you and getting here first. And so it is with many people who have grace that we want. They charge headlong into getting there first and staying in once. And I want to tell you something. Whatever you think about rock bells and all this enough, methodologically, they get there first and they stay the longest. If I would go in the unconditional Christ-like love, 1 Corinthians 13, into anybody's life, please pick someone. They will trust me and they will not leave me, because almost no one in their life offers them even a pale shadow of Christian unconditional agape. That deep spiritual life that sees it in a way they can't even imagine to be seen. So if you get there first, you'll stay longest because nobody else treats them that way. Except for loving them wasn't the point, if that's all you managed to do. Because your point is you are the messenger of the message. And your methodology is awesome. You get there first and you stay wrongs. Okay? Now, the truth comes. You say you didn't deliver the message accurately enough. And they just think you're awesome. But they can't tell the difference between you and the awesome Buddhist. We get there last. And we don't linger very long. But there is no doubt we deliver the facts to the others. Except for the second messenger didn't deliver the message either. Hey, this happened and this happened. It was confusing. We were in the woods. We didn't even know where the border was. You know, the general's not telling you, but he just didn't want to deal with you for giving Absalom. And it was really confusing, and our people are overwhelmed because they don't know how you're going to react. And we won the war, and lots of us died to get you your crown back. But see, he didn't get to stay long enough to deliver the entirety of the message. He just got to go, we won, he died. Let me give you the Christian version. Jesus won the victory for you, and you have to die. The one you love the most has to die. Because that's the heart of the gospel. Is Christ died for you, and you have to put the old person to death to submit to Christ. All that you love has to die. But you don't get any into the complexity, the beauty of the message, the compassion of the message, because they're done talking to you. They're going to believe us that you're communicating. If I want to be with this Jesus, I have to die. I have to quit. I have to stop. I have to be someone that I'm not. And so truth is delivered, but not completely. Love is delivered, but not completely. See, neither of them delivered the message, but if they had come together and managed to communicate to each other what they knew, they could have delivered a message that would stop them with this. David, can you brace yourself? Hey, stand up. Dad, could you stand aside? Could you sit down a second? Dad, can we talk to you a second? Stand up. Here's what happened. You know what Joe was like? It just didn't take a while. Could you go privately with him? He's known you for 50 years. Could you tell him Absalom died? You held Absalom in your arms and said, look at me. Could you? He's my friend. Could you tell him? And the military guy goes, look, it was really confusing. We were in the woods. We had no idea what it was. We're just grateful we're not dead. And you move your crime back. And so an intimate who's fully informed can sat people down in privacy and said, look, here's what happened. And that's the message that God wants to send everywhere. Can you the next slide, please? You see, God wants to send an intimate who is fully informed. Andy, could you read, please?
For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ.
I'm sure this video gets me. Grace and truth through Christ. He sat down with us and says, I know I'm talking about something you love. I know I'm talking about something you've known all your life. I know I'm talking about something that's really hard to hear. Let me spend some time reminding you at the end of this conversation, I'm going to give you all the facts. But you're going to know I care deeply for you, and I am believing with you in the day. And Christ says, I want you to do it the way I did. I want you to become incarnate. I want you to go where they live and become one with them. I want you to dwell where they dwell. It says of God, and God made his home in our neighborhood, and he lived with us. The first time we got to see God as welcome, because he lived with us in all contexts. So God says, I really want you to go and live with them, become intimate with them, but be fully informed about why you're there. And so when they ask you why, you will have an answer for the hope with it. realize when I met Christ 20 years ago, I had a life. You might not admire it. I had a world. I had friends. They might not have been admirable. They might not have been healthy. My life expectancy was definitely short. But these were people who had bled. Some of them had risked their life for me. And I met Christianity, and the Christians coldly said, just leave those people. Just leave those things. Just leave your life. And I'm like, but don't beg excuses, obey. Kill the old man, raise the new. Oh. You know I'm bleeding here. Yeah, you're not going to hell. Shut up. Think about it. Right. You know I'm bleeding here. Shut up. Tough it up. Try to grow up. Put your big pants on. You realize that's what we do in Christianity. We have no empathy for where they come from. We have no empathy for those that are left behind. I have a brother in the Lord. He's new to the faith. He just got baptized. And he got a group of friends from college and they're professionals now. They're all married. And they are angry that he is gone. And he's trying to stay as an evangelist, as a witness, as they have intimacy. He's trying to become very informed so he can communicate with context. Hey, this is who Christ is. But they are so angry because their body is gone. What I do? You've got to stay. You've got to allow them to be angry. You've got to have boundaries and say, I am me now. I'm going to self-nominate. But you've got to stay. Well, that hurts. Yeah, that's called empathy. But the explanation is the boundary. Hey, I'm not going to enter into that activity. My beliefs and behaviors have been transformed. And so, how do I do that? Could you hit the next one, please? This is a great symbol from literature. It's called a chiron. And the Christians in the early church, they grabbed this idea. Talk about contextualization. Because the Greeks were the great academics, the great thinkers for all of civilized society. And so this was stamped on a scroll in the margin. And it denoted there's an idea here. You can just jump right down and read it. There's an idea here worth reading. Let's put a mark in the margin. It denoted something remarkable. Something to be remembered, to go back to. As you go, there's one of those marks. I can see it on the back because it stamps the word. A chiron was a mark in the margin. And they used it as a symbol of Christianity because they were people of the way, and they had prepared to give an answer to the hope within them. They had a story. And when Christ was alive, he was asked, okay, what if I don't want to spend 20 years to become a theologian, and another 20 to become a methodologically accurate, contextualized, incarnate missionary to a particular people group? What's the version that doesn't take 40 years? And Jesus goes, I got that one! Don't worry. By the way, have you noticed I haven't given you any text, any addresses yet in the Bible? If you're really curious where the two messengers were and David, go find it. If you want to know where it says Moses gave us the law, but Christ gave us grace and interpretation, go find it. Okay? This one I'm going to give you. Mark 12:30. Cliff Notes of Christianity. Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, your soul, your mind, your strength. 31 goes like this. And your neighbor as yourself. But love God first with all your heart, soul, mind, strength. For the next 4 weeks, I'm going to give you your story. You see, one of the problems with Christianity is we have distorted the message. And whether our methodology is here with grace or here with truth, when it comes time to deliver the hope within you, you have a distortion of it, and you don't know how to just say it properly. And so what we tend to do is take people to a professional speaker. really explain it. Jesus loves me, I'm not going to hell. And Darren will explain it just in a couple of weeks. Because we don't understand how to filter out all the distortions from the Bible. And so, beginning next week, the resurrection, then the crucifixion, and finally the incarnation. I'll give you the version of love the Lord thy God with all your heart. Okay? Is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Love the Lord thy God with all your soul is the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. Love the Lord thy God with all your mind is the incarnation. And then the final week I'll give you the commission. So next week is the resurrection. You have to believe in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Okay? That's what we believe. The week after, the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. You have to believe this to accurately self-formulate. In the third week, I'll do the incarnation of Jesus Christ. You have to believe in these three things, and these are our stories. These are our kairos. These are the cliff notes of Christianity that marks through the margin. Love the Lord thy God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. The last week is the Great Commission. We'll keep there for. I have a purpose of the biography that was written before you were born. See, I wrote your story before you read. God had your biography before you were born. And then last week we'll talk about how you take your three stories, the resurrection, the crucifixion, and the incarnation, which will all be under 60 seconds in the vernacular. So it will be your story. So you will take the resurrection of Jesus Christ and explain how. That is you. Because it dwells within you. It makes you who you are. You will take the crucifixion and you will explain, this is who I am. And lastly, you will take the incarnation of Jesus Christ and you say, this is who I am. And we'll do it for 60 seconds. And each week, I'll end with a 60 second or less for in the vernacular. And here's the point. If you have a story and you can answer for the hope within you in under 60 seconds, you'll provoke the most amazing question of your life. Donna, can I have a little bit more of your time for you to actually explain what you're talking about? That is the most profound question a Christian can ever get asked. Here's what we do now. Can I have a couple of minutes of your time? And I'm a really arrogant, really gifted preacher. Can I have 45 minutes of your time? Sure, why not? I've been incredibly generous. I came to your church for 90 minutes. And I shut up. Whereas if you go 45 seconds, and then you shut up, and then you wait for this. What do you mean? That's a question for your time. That's a request for you to spend time with them about them. Okay, can you unpack that? Yeah, I can to prepare. This is what I prepare. This is why it took me a little longer to get to. I prepare 3 stories, the resurrection, the power of God, crucifixion, the power of God, the incarnation, the presence of God, the power of the pardon, the presence of maybe even the experience you have with me, because this is the explanation. And so the hero, the mark on the margin in your life, is the resurrection, the crucifixion, and the incarnation. This is the football of Christianity. If you know nothing else in your life, this covers everything. God made you, He broke you, He fixed you. God made you, He broke you, He fixed you. Every day of my life, this is true. God made me. He raised me anew in Christ this morning. I broke me. He fixed me. This is the heart of my narrative of Christianity. I am subject to my Master because He made me. I don't trust me because I keep breaking me. But I trust Him because He just keeps fixing me. Can you hear how that message is the heart of our theology? Or orthodoxy experiencing, or orthopraxy should hold attention. So our explanation of what we believe and the experience of our behavior should Josh, what does that mean? I go, I don't really know. Well, and it'll be the story. This is the heart. At the very end, I'm going to tell you what to do with the narrative. It is normal. The resurrection, you know what it means. The crucifixion, you know what it means for me. The incarnation, I know what it does in my life. I know how it makes my life coherent and consistent. And I was made for a purpose. Right now, nobody can do what I do. Nobody can be who I am. And you'll boldly go and be a messenger with a message that is profoundly simple.